a millionaire at age 23? Yes, it does happen. This gentleman has done it. E.A. Solkovitz is an entrepreneur, business consultant, writer, founder of something called the Givers University. I just love the concept of that. His humble beginnings were that of the son of a milkman at age 16. This is E.A. We're going to call him E.A. today, E.A. Solkovitz. Hello, and thanks for coming on, sir.
Chris, thank you so much for having me on your platform. And I got to tell you, what could be better than a platform that lets people know what's happening out there and people that are changing the world?
That's exactly how I perceived you when I first was contacted by you and your organization. This guy is certainly knowing how to change the world and has done it. And the first thing I'm curious about, and people may be curious about, is what is the Givers University? What is that?
Thank you for asking. It's a university founded on basically a course of 3 books, a series of 3 books. And that series is called Give to Be Great. Mm-hmm. And the first book is called Giver's Mindset. The second book course, they're actual courses as well, audio courses. It's called The Giver's Lifestyle. And the third is called Giver's Lifelong Learning. So each one of those books came about because of a temporary major defeat in my life. And I wrote a book to not be in that position again. And that brought about Givers University. And it really, the seed of it, Chris, started from a vow I made with my mentor going back many years ago.
Who was your mentor?
His name was Sam Robbins. I can share the story real briefly if you want.
Go ahead.
I'd be happy to share how I met him, because it's sort of unique. You know, as you mentioned, I was raised son of a milkman. I'm from Chicago originally, lived in Chicago for 30 years and then moved to Michigan. My father was a distributor for Twin Oaks, sort of literally a one-man operation back in the day. They had boxes outside the houses and milk was in glass containers, and you put the milk in the container and there was money in there. And the funny thing is no one ever touched it. They all knew that was the milkman money, you know? So that's what we did. My dad had a milkman route. So from there, Chris, I went up to my first big level of success and became a janitor.
Oh,
yeah. Which I didn't mind because business was always picking up. What? Anyway, so the, it's true. It's true.
You swept it up.
Yeah, swept it up. Exactly. And my fun time was, cleaning bowling alleys at 2 a.m. and getting free songs on the jukebox. But and that was the big deal. But also at the age of 16, I was able to be insured, bonded, to go into some expensive places we cleaned. And one of them, because I lived in Chicago, was a home for a lady named June Martino. Now, I'm going to share with you a very interesting story that happened in my life. Yeah. Did you see the movie with Michael Keaton, called The Founder, about Ray Kroc and McDonald's?
Not in a while. So
okay. All right. Well, in the movie, Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc, and he talks to this lady outside his office all the time, June. Her name is June, and that's the lady whose house I cleaned. Her name was June Martino. She had the 3rd most controlling stock in McDonald's. Wow. And you know, she was very nice. I was in there every Wednesday, had to be in there for 8 hours. She was always very cordial, very nice. And this was in Oak Brook, Illinois, which is the area where I lived in. So I saw the whole McDonald's phenomenon, and I knew June Martino was an icon. She was like a major, so many zeros, you can't count them kind of thing, right? But she was really nice. She was always very approachable and always said hi to me, never condescending because I'm a janitor or nothing like that. Just the opposite, as a matter of fact. So one day I could tell she was in an extra good mood. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to do it. So I mustered up all the strength of a 16-year-old snot-nosed kid. And I went up to her and I said, June? She goes, yeah. And I said, can I ask you a question? She said, sure. Very nice. And I said, could you tell me about it? And she said, what? I said, well, the whole McDonald's thing. She said, like the whole story? And I said, yeah. I'm not kidding, Chris. She put her arm around me, brought me in the kitchen, and the entire day told me the entire story, step by step, from the very beginning of when Ray Kroc first met the brothers, because she was already working for him at that point.
Right.
All the way through to that moment in time we were sitting in her kitchen. She even had the maids and butlers bring us food so she could keep telling me the story. And she got to one point, and she told me about where Ray could not afford to pay her.
Oh,
and so he paid her. They made an agreement that he paid her in worthless company stock, because McDonald's was worth nothing. It was actually underwater. And the people that have seen the movie, or listeners that have seen the movie, they'll remember a part where June goes to Ray and says, hey, we're losing money faster than it's coming in. We don't have any money at all. That's accurate. A lot of the movie was Hollywoodized. But that part's accurate. She told me that really happened. And so they made a deal that Ray would pay her in worthless company stock. He couldn't afford to pay her. And he would take the phone calls from her bill collectors. And so I asked her, I said, June, I'm a janitor. I work, week to week. I get paid on Friday. If I don't get paid on Friday, I'm not showing on Saturday. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Why did you do it? And Chris, she sat back and stared at me, and I could tell she had a look in her eyes that no one had ever asked her that question. And then what she said made the hair stand up on the back of my neck, the way she said it. And I said, why'd you do it? She said, because I believed in Ray. And my first thought right then, Chris, was, I got to find a Ray Kroc. I've got to find a mentor. I've got to find someone who can take me under their wing and teach me, because I'm the son of a milkman, burnt out janitor. And I don't know how to do it, but I just know I want to do it. And it wasn't 2 or 3 months later, I met my business mentor, Sam Robbins, who literally changed the trajectory of my life and became the father I never had, even though I had a father. And I became the son he never had, even though he had a son. And God bless him. Our years together were a great blessing. And I share with your listeners, if you don't have a mentor, get one. It's so important. It's so important.
Wow. That's a story and a soundbite, of course, too. How did it proceed from there? Because I introduced this with a millionaire at age 23. So from 16 and you got yourself the mentor. And Sam, what were some of the first things that Sam Robbins said to you that influenced you and made you proceed to where you ended up?
Boy, that is the perfect Robin Hood split the arrow with an arrow question. That's it. Exact. Because when I met Sam, I could tell, and actually here's another lesson for your listeners. We got a phone call at the janitorial service, and it was at night. I was there with the boss. It was just him and I, and he was like a friend of the family. So I was sort of hanging out, but I'd already punched out, the time clocks where you literally feel like punching out. Punching it out, you feel like that. So I punched out. And so we get this phone call, this guy coming in from Detroit that's opening a diamond store in Berkeley, Illinois, another suburb of Chicago. And he wants to see some carpeting. He has to see it tonight. He's leaving the next day on a plane going back to Detroit. I said, Jerry, and so my boss says, can you go show him some carpet? I said, Jerry, I've already punched out. I'm not going. I'm done. I'm done for the day. He goes, I'll tell you what, if you go, I'll make a deal with you. I'll give you any Saturday off you want. Now, Chris, for a janitor, that's a big negotiation chip, because businesses are closed on Saturday. We're cleaning, right? Yeah. So offices and everything else are closed. So I repeated back. I said, okay, any Saturday I want. He said, yep, any Saturday you want. And so here, begrudgingly dragging my feet, emotionally and mentally dragging my feet, I went and punched back in, and I'm taking my time thinking, oh boy, what a waste of time this is going to be. I don't even know about carpeting. Going to meet the man that will change the trajectory of my life forever. Okay. So I share with your listeners, be aware, be discerning of those great things that will happen in your life when at that very moment, it seems almost insignificant. The decision you'll make that'll cause that trajectory. So I met this man, Sam Robbins, and he offered me a job with this diamond company and I could tell he was rich and successful and then happy. And that's what I wanted, not knowing I was doing it backwards. First, you're supposed to be happy, then successal, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted it backwards. I want give me the money. I want to be rich. I want to be successful. Right. 16 years old is at that point, 17 and a half, almost 18. I'm going for the money. So I said, Sam, can you teach me everything? I can tell you're very successful. Teach me. Can you teach me how to do it? And he said, yes, but here we're gonna have to make an agreement. And I said, okay. And I'm willing to agree to anything because I don't know what to do, right? And he said, here's the deal. I'll teach you everything I know as fast as you can take it, with one condition. When the time is right, you teach it to everyone else. And that was the seed and the vow and the commitment and the oath that eventually became, as we know today, Givers University.
Because of a promise
at 18 years old.
Wow. And if I may ask, the concept of Givers University is and this is a concept that I've heard preached by, if it's the same idea, people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, he'll say, give, 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 give. Don't really take. Don't ever really. Well, eventually, I guess you have to ask in business, but you do a lot of giving. You give of yourself and you provide value. Is this the same idea? Is that what givers?
Actually, Gary's done some great things. We've taken it a quantum leap past some of those teachings to the point that literally we teach something genuinely is not being taught anywhere. And when I go through it with people, that they all say the same thing. It strikes a chord and they go, oh, this has to be taught. Mm-hmm. What we do at Givers University is we teach people. First of all, we love, and I share with all your listeners, we love everybody. We love everybody. But what we teach people how to do, Chris, is how to discern and separate the person who we love from their deeds, which we may not love.
Oh.
And we teach people how to discern what to look for specifically. I mean, the specific things. So when we say giver, we're not labeling a person, we're labeling their deeds. When we say taker, we're not labeling a person, we're labeling the deeds of that person. And what we do is we teach people how to discern. One of our sayings, Chris, is givers earn 3 times more because givers discern 3 times more. We teach people how to discern and look for the actual deeds that people are doing, the things. So as an example, if right now your eyes were itchy and your nose was runny, I could probably surmise you have a cold.
Yeah.
I'm not able to see the cold, but I can see the symptoms, and the symptoms will tell me you have a cold.
Right.
We teach people the symptoms in the form of a deed. Look for these specific things they're doing. Chris, we even give them checklists that they can live by. When you see people doing these specific things, you may want to begin to discern, should I bring them in closer into my life, a part of my giver community, or should I begin respectfully distancing myself, not nasty, but respectfully distancing myself from them because I'm about ready to become collateral damage.
Mm-hmm.
And we teach and I'll ask your listeners 3 questions to prove my point.
Okay.
Think about the fires that you stomp out every day. Think about when your stress level spikes and goes straight to the roof. Think about the conversations you have that at the end of the conversation, you don't even remember what you talked about, but you know you have no more energy left. They just drained it all from you. Mm-hmm. All 3 of those scenarios have one thing in common. There's a name attached to them. And what we do is we teach people to discern, should I have that person in my life, or should I bring them in and have them bring their collateral damage? We say takers bring with them the 3 Ds, defeatism, disruption, and destruction. Yeah. They bring those 3 with them all the time. Givers, by contrast, bring with the 3 Ws, wisdom, wealth, and wellness. So who do we want to surround ourselves with? Don't we want to have more givers in our life?
Oh, yeah.
And less takers? But Chris, no one's teaching people how to discern. I love self-improvement. You're a self-improvement guy, I can tell. I'm a self-improvement geek. I love it. And self-improvement is great, but no one's is saying, Chris, what about the other guy? What if he's not doing it right? What should I do about that?
Yeah.
And so what happens is we bring these people into our life because no one's taught us how to discern. And now we're stomping out fires and our productivity goes through the floor because of all the time we're wasting stomping out fires and problems someone else is causing. Or the stress level in our life because no one taught us, look for these deeds. One of the things we want to give your listeners are, and free, we want to give it to them, compliment your podcast, the 6 arrows that takers shoot at you that people don't even know. When they look at these, they look at the list and they go, oh my God, this really needs to be taught. And I tell people, I said, this is why you're hurting. This is why you're walking around bleeding every day. You're getting shot and you don't even know what to look for. You don't realize you're being shot and you're being shot by takers. And so we give them a checklist that they can walk around with and say, this is really a tangible, usable tools. In the first course, we have something called the 25 do's. Mm-hmm. It's literally a 2-page checklist of the 25 things that givers do and the 25 things that takers do, their deeds. And when you go through the list and you look, we're not grading people, we're grading their deeds. There's a distinction.
Yes, there is.
We're discerning and we're teaching people how to discern.
This is next level stuff.
It really is.
EA. This is next level stuff. You take Gary Vee, who I respect immensely, and
Me too.
build on top of that. That's just amazing. If someone wanted to get involved in your course, how does that take place?
Real simple. And that includes us giving them the freebies I talked to you, because we're givers and we want to, and you'll love this phrase, by the way. Your talk talks and your walk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks.
I do love that. That's good.
And so what we mentioned.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
Okay, that again.
Oh yeah. Well,
that's what you want me to say.
Previous to that.
Oh, before that. Okay. And it sums it up. We love to say that in Givers University, and that is, your talk talks, what you say talks about you. Your walk talks, your deeds say something about you.
Mm-hmm.
But your walk talks louder than your talk talks.
Got it.
In other words, our deeds talk louder than what we say. And what we do is we teach people, you don't have to listen to what they're saying, because then you're judging the person. Don't judge the person. Look at their deeds and be discerning by their deeds, because that's how you will know the truth of what they're doing.
What I do and not what I say, kind of.
Exactly. Because the people learn the right words and they learn how to gloss over and spin or be, and we take them right out of that realm, because we sift it down, because so much of the training today, Chris, are these broad, innocuous swaths of statements where you say, wow, that really sounded good. And then you go, what do I do with that now? But, and we wanted to sift it down to where when someone sees these checklists, they can no longer say, what do I do? This is it. This is what you do. So we want them to do a quiz, Chris. It's a 7-question quiz.
Right.
The title of the quiz is, what is your givers and takers awareness IQ?
Oh, good. I love the title. I love what. Yeah.
What is your givers and takers awareness IQ?
That's good.
And so and it's 7 questions.
Okay.
Simple, multiple choice. And when they do the quiz, it's totally free. They'll actually get a free assessment on how they're doing. We have different assessments based on their answers. Mm-hmm. And then within minutes after they complete the quiz, they're going to get the 6 arrows sent to them and a checklist form, which will have an immediate impact on their life. And then a couple of days later, they're going to get the 25 do's, literal checklist they can print off, put in their pocket, and say, you know what? These are the things I should be looking for, that when people do this, I can start deciding and discerning, should I bring them closer or should I be respectfully distancing myself from them? So, and so we're going to give them great information. And they go to giversuniversity.info. Giversuniversity.info.
I'll have that on the podcast when it goes live. Giversuniversity.info. So
and when they go there, they're on the first question of the quiz. That page is the first question.
That's exactly. Okay, great. Awesome.
Super easy.
I could talk to you for all day. So I'm going to ask you publicly on this one. Can I have you on again at some point?
Chris, it would be my honor, because here's one thing I want to share with you as a final thought with your listeners that's so very, very important. They probably have people in their life right now that they love, and they know that they're doing a little bit more taking than giving, and they don't know how to broach it. They don't know how to broach the subject because they don't want to hurt their feelings. They love them. You know, one of the best things they could do, Chris, is they could share a podcast called Bo Knows Who is Changing the World. Yeah. And the reason why they could share your podcast with them and your video is because it's a great third-party way to broach the subject for someone they care about. And the person's mind may be open and say, you know what? That's really thought-provoking. And all they have to do, Chris, is just say, man, I saw this great video. I saw this great podcast, and I want to share it with you because it was really thought-provoking. Let me know what you think about it. Who knows? It may be one less fire you stamp out because they shared your podcast, Chris, with someone else.
Who knows? The Bo knows. The Bo knows.
That's exactly it.
Couple of quick questions, and I always like to ask this of any guest. What's your favorite movie?
Lord of the Rings.
Great. If you had a time machine like this Doctor Who TARDIS, and you could go back in time and talk to anybody, relative, non-famous, whatever, who would you speak with?
Moses. I'd totally want to ask Moses, dude, What was it like bringing on those 10 plagues? That had to be awesome.
That's a great answer. EA,
Yes,
it's
sir.
been great. It's been
Thank you, my
fun.
friend. Thank you.
I can't wait till the next time. But I do want to say this, and I love doing this from Star Trek. Live long and prosper. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chris.
And my pleasure.